All right. I guess I was sitting here talking to myself. Good morning, Adrian. My apologies. I was sitting here going through things and I hadn't even hit the live button yet. So, yeah. I guess that I hope that's not a sign of the way the rest of my day is going to go, because I've got a lot to get done today, and hopefully I can get it done before I run out of steam. So, yeah. Today, based on feedback from last week, today we are talking about Pi-hole. Pi-hole is a pretty interesting piece of software or collection of software that lets you block ads network wide. So theoretically, you should be able to block ads and not get these constant little nag notifications from different websites saying that you've got an ad blocker enabled. Because it's not happening at the browser level, and so their detection is not going to do so well with that. So I've been doing Pi-hole videos. I looked up this morning, and my oldest Pi-hole video dates back from, I believe, 2017. And I installed Pi-hole in a demo on Ubuntu 16.04. So I've been doing this for a while. I've run it on my system in production on and off over the course of that time. Usually I run it on a VM. I did run it at least for a brief period of time directly on a Raspberry Pi, and it runs fine there. There's no issue. It was originally conceived as a project for the Pi, thus the name Pi-hole. And so, it's going to run in lower spec environments fairly well. And of course, being, working with DNS, it doesn't require a huge amount of overhead to begin with, especially since it's not using bind, it's using a fork of DNS mask. So, the Pi-hole website is pi-hole.net. And I have to hand it to them. They've got a very straightforward website, and I am very happy with what they've done with this. They walk you through the steps right on the homepage. You don't have to drill down and find documentation. They just put it right there out in front of you. So, step 1, install a supported operating system. And so they give you two options: Docker install and supported operating systems. And you can see from the list here of icons, Fedora, CentOS, Ubuntu Debian, and Raspberry Pi OS, formerly known as Raspbian. And of course, the Docker whale up here. All right. Step 2, install Pi-hole. So they give you a button here. Excuse me. All right, that should be better. The button from the main page takes you to the README. And it goes through your different install methods. You can use the curl script, which is downloading and running the script directly. And a lot of people frown on that because if you do it that way, you can't inspect the script before you run it. And that's a valid criticism. That's, you know, you shouldn't just run things willy-nilly on a system. So it gives you various alternative install methods. You can clone the repository and run the shell script from there. Or you can download it directly with wget and then execute the shell script. So for the sake of argument, we're actually going to do the repository cloning method. And let me jump back here. So we are going to connect to our freshly installed Ubuntu server 20.04.2, I believe. And okay, so we're logged in. And right off, it's telling us it wants the system restarted. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we will wait for that to come back up. So give that just a couple of minutes. And it should be back up here pretty quick like. Maybe not that quick. All right. Well, if it's refusing the connection, it's still booting. So we'll give it another few seconds and then we'll start back in. So again, welcome Adrian. Welcome to anybody else out there that's watching this. Just to catch people up, we are installing Pi-hole on a fresh system. Freshly installed Ubuntu server. And we are going to keep this moving. Okay, let me... All right. So if I switch back to my instructions, make sure Git is installed. And it is. So we are going to do the first command. Git clone, depth of 1, give the path for the project and the directory we want to put it in. Okay. Change directory into Pi-hole. And as you can see, we've got different things on here that we can do. So actually, we want to go into the automated install folder. And see what we've got in here. So we are going to actually look at this first before we go to install it. Basic install.sh, put it through less. The great thing about the Pi-hole documentation, or the Pi-hole script, I should say, is that it is well documented. Get back to my correct screen here. And that makes it helpful. Good morning, Chris. This makes it helpful to be able to tell what is going on because the programmers actually are spelling it out for you. And if you have any experience with code, or if you're just so inclined, you can verify this on your own. So it's got variables laid out. It's got supported DNS servers as part of your variables section here. Location for final install log storage. So again, using variables, it's laying things out and making it very easy for you to tell where things are going to be put. Or if you feel a desire to modify the script, you can go ahead and do that, and you can make notations in the code for what you modified, which again is always a good thing to do. So I guess I don't really have a take on regular expressions between Pi-hole and AdGuard. I have not really tested AdGuard as a separate product, so I guess I don't know enough to have an opinion on that at this point in time. However, if you've got some insight, I would love to hear it. All right, so again, more variables. And then you get into the first bits of logic and doing different things down here. Checking screen size. So this is your standard 80 by 24 here, which is going to default to. And if it's running on a real terminal, it will find out the rows and columns. Again, this just goes through pretty much step by step what we're going to see in the installer. These are undocumented flags. So again, more for troubleshooting purposes than anything else. Here's a function that echoes out the logo in ASCII format. So again, making things very easy to go through. I have to really give them props for the time that they spent documenting all of this. And so I'm not going to go through every last line of this, but as you can see, there is quite a bit to it. And, you know, you can go through this line by line and pick it apart, make sure you don't have any questions about what it's doing, and then move on from there. All right. So let's do that and come back to my notes. All right. So we are going to go ahead and launch the install script as root. So sudo bash basicinstall.sh. Enter the password. And there we go. Does a root user check, displays the logo, and here are some other checks. And then we'll just let it do its thing. All right, this installer will transform your device into a network-wide ad blocker. Powered by your donations, so if you're able, please donate back to Pi-hole. And it's going to try to set your address as static. So please take into consideration what address is being set and whether or not your network is set up to handle this and not cause conflicts, because that can be nerve-wracking for people when they run into it. All right, select your upstream DNS provider. So, I don't know, let's do Quad 9 filtered with DNSSEC. All right, Pi-hole relies on third-party lists in order to block ads. You can use the suggestion below or add your own after installation. To deselect the suggested list, use the spacebar. We're going to use that list. So we're going to tab down to OK. And again, we're going to do filtering over both IP4, V4, and IPv6. You want to use your current network settings as a static address. This is fine. 134 is the address of my server, and the gateway is at .1. And this is just an IP conflict warning. Like I said, keep this in mind. And if this is something you need to worry about, make sure you move the IP address to the reserved list or reassign it an IP outside of your DHCP reservation pool. We are going to install the web interface. And of course, to do that, we need the web server and the required PHP modules. So yes, we want to do that. Let's log the queries. And let's do everything. And we'll let it run its course. And we'll see if anybody else has popped into the live stream today. All right. So far, so good. Just out of curiosity, guys, how is my audio coming through? Are the levels good? I've made a pretty big purchase this week. Let's just put me on while that's running in the background. I bit the bullet, and I bought the big boy, the Shure SM7B. I'm not going to claim that I've got the settings completely dialed in quite right yet, but it's definitely got a different tone compared to the Samsung Q2U that I have been using for the last, I don't know, year and a half. So this should be interesting. All right, let's move back to the other screen. Okay. It gives you your admin webpage login password. So we are going to copy that. And I'm going to put it in my notes. And I will be changing it later. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that in order to change from the default password provided to you here, generated for you here, you do have to use the command line utility, and that's not the end of the world. But we will talk about that on another day or in another video, and keep this moving. Okay, so we are complete on the install. So now we can go to the web interface. 134/admin. And we'll bump this up a little bit. And we'll go to log in. And we'll paste in our password. We're not going to save that currently. And so it's going to give you some information, things that have been blocked. So currently, the only host or client it's got in here is the local host, so the server machine. Gives you the number of domains on the block list and the percent blocked currently. So what we're going to do is I'm going to check the chat and see how things are going there. All right. Thank you, Adrian, for the feedback on the audio. I appreciate that. Everything sounds good on my end, but it's never bad to check and see what other people are hearing. So, okay. Go to Splashtop and connect over to this guy. Okay, so I'm connected to my Ubuntu machine. I've got Lubuntu 21.04 running in a VM over there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to modify the settings for IPv4. And as you can tell, I was using this machine for my walkthrough yesterday, just to make sure I had all my notes in place and everything was ready for today. So I'm going to put in the Pi-hole as the DNS server. I've got the address for this VM set to automatic for the address only. So that will allow me to override the DNS server. We'll save that. And just for the sake of argument, I am going to turn networking off and give it a second. And then turn it back on. And then we'll go ahead and launch Firefox. And so, a little luck. With a little luck, when we go back to Pi-hole, good morning, Carlos. When we go back to Pi-hole, we will see that we are in fact blocking some of those ads. And already we've got a second client. We've got queries blocked, percentage blocked. And if we come down here, we can see some of the different permitted domains and top clients. So 149 is my Lubuntu VM that I brought up for testing. And you can see the different domains that were either blocked or allowed in this list. So there's all kinds of stuff on here that were blocked. And you can, if you so desire, you can add things to the whitelist if you'd like, or blacklist them. Just a number of things you can do. So you've got, I guess we can go down the side here. You've got query log, which can tell you the time and the client and status. You've got long-term data, and you can get some graphs and all kinds of fun stuff going there. You've got separate sections for your whitelist and blacklist. And so list of whitelisted sites, and I want to take that back off because I just clicked on that without being able to get all the way to the right side of the screen. As well, you've got blacklist management. You can do groups. You can disable Pi-hole temporarily, indefinitely for seconds, minutes, or put in a custom time. Got various tools. Pi-hole diagnosis. So there's nothing really wrong here. We're just on a fresh install, so everything is going well so far. This is a list. Gravity is a list of blocked domains, so we can run an update on that. And there shouldn't be a lot to update. And it did give us a success status. So we are clear to move away from this page. Find blocked domains and list. There's an audit log. And you can get the last 10 entries in the Pi-hole log, the FTL log. You can generate a debug log. There are things with the network. Gives you an overview screen, which can be useful. As well, there are various settings in here. You can do various ad lists, change the DNS. You can have Pi-hole act as a DHCP server if you'd like, taking some overhead off your router or firewall. I tend not to use this, but your use case may vary. And of course, you know, it is sometimes nice to have that available. Some API and web interface settings. So we can change this to dark mode. It's actually not bad looking. They've also got a deep midnight theme, dark mode. Not sure that's all that different, but that's nice looking as well. Privacy. Again, this was one of the settings that we selected in the installer. The teleporter. So you can back up your configuration. You can restore your configuration. Always a good idea to have a backup. If you're running this in a VM, you may choose just to do snapshots and roll back to a previous snapshot. As quick, though, as this is to install, you can probably get away with just backing up the configuration. And the nice thing is you get to choose what you restore. So if you want to do a bare bones restore and do some testing, you've got that option. So really, this coupled with the snapshot features would be a great plan of attack. All right, so you've also got the option to use Pi-hole for your local DNS. So I've actually been experimenting for a while now with a DNS mask server running in, I believe I got it running in a container on Proxmox VE. And so the great thing about Pi-hole is that it can do double duty. It can act as your network-wide ad blocker as well as doing DNS, which if you have more than, say, 7 to 10 machines, then you might want to start considering having your own DNS server. Plus, this is a good fallback option if whichever DNS servers you are using should happen to go down. And if you keep DNS records for things on the internet that you visit on a regular basis, so you'll have the IP address as well as the URL or fully qualified domain name, you can still get to those things when, other people may be complaining about outages. All right, so looks like we're up to 4 people watching the stream so far. Not the best I've seen, not the worst I've seen, but hey, for the people that are not in chat and are just watching, welcome to the stream. Come on in. Nobody in the chat bites. So, come on in, ask questions, and have some fun with us. All right. So for the local DNS, you can set your records. So add a new domain IP combination. And so, for instance, if I wanted to set, let's see, I don't know. will do that just for the sake of argument. And I'm going to set this to, also if I only get one period in there, 109. I think that's what I want. We can add that. And then come on over here. And so, of course, that's going to take a little time to go all the way through. But you get the idea. We can add various options in here and be able to get to some of our local servers or machines using a name instead of the IP address, which for those of you who have had the bravery to walk down that aisle and have a significant other, then this should help for the spousal approval factor, which I've been told is a thing. I don't have a spouse, so I don't have to worry about it so much, but I've got a couple of nieces that do come to visit, and if I can make it easier for them, so be it. I've already added a guest network with a captive portal just to make things easier for them. They still have to get the password from me, but I can keep them separated off onto their own little section and limit their bandwidth quite nicely, which makes me happy because I don't have to worry about them, getting on TikTok or doing whatever they do and sucking up all my bandwidth. So, are there things that you want to see? Just want to jump over here a minute. And okay, so we can ping serial killer. And if you notice the spelling of serial killer, yes, this is very much paying tribute to one of my favorite cult classic movies of the 90s called Hackers. My NAS boxes are called Serial Killer, Acid Burn, and Crash Override. So if you haven't watched Hackers, you're missing out. Yes, it's kind of quaint for the for today's standards, but it's still a movie that I enjoy, partially for the soundtrack, partially because it was just so early in capturing some of the hacking spirit that was there in the 90s, as well as the clothing, the atmosphere in New York City. And it's got Angelina Jolie and Johnny Lee Miller in it. So that's not a bad combination either. So we can switch back to our web browser. And Firefox is still not playing nice, but that's okay. That's something I can address later. So, anyways, haven't looked at documentation yet. So that does pop you over to a website, and it tells you just basically everything you could want to know about Pi-hole, from getting started, post-install steps, how to update Pi-hole, command line utilities, the Pi-hole command. So I did mention earlier that to change the generated password that you get when you install Pi-hole, you have to use the Pi-hole command. And so since you're going to be hitting the user for the web interface, you come into Pi-hole web, and the password gets set right here. So Pi-hole-A-P and your new password. So if we were to log out, jump back to our terminal, Pi-hole-A-P, enter new password. This is the password for Pi-hole. And confirm it. And your new password is set. So if we jump back to the web interface and go to login, we'll use the password that we just set it to. Okay. So wonder if we... Okay, I'll deal with that later. Not the biggest deal in the world. Are there questions on Pi-hole? I've gone through this fairly quick. I did the install of Ubuntu server this morning prior to the live stream starting. The machine it's running on, it's a VM. I gave it 2 processor cores, which was likely overkill. I gave it 2 gigs of RAM, which again was likely overkill. And I ran updates. Updates were just completing as I was getting the live stream started. And yeah, you've seen everything else that we've done. And, you know, it's just, it's that easy to get it installed and running. Now, I guess the next thing is I did demonstrate setting up the DNS on a single machine. So that is great if you are just installing this for the first time and you want to do testing before you roll this out everywhere on your network. So, you know, start with a single machine, do your testing, you know, have a clear idea of what it's going to do, how it's going to operate, and it's never too early to make a plan for what you might want to do if something goes wrong. And of course, you know, if something goes wrong, it's good to know how to go back into a single host, reset your DNS to something else, quad 9, quad 1, what have you, and be able to get back to your router and reset things there if necessary. Now, again, if you've got to hit that spousal approval factor, I've seen where people have run multiple instances of Pi-hole on the same network. For the sake of redundancy, if one of them goes down, people in your household are not likely to notice much of a difference. With that being said, you probably still want to have some sort of monitoring installed. You want to, if you're going to do something like this, again, know how to switch it back. If you're ever in a position where you have to seek help from your local ISP, I doubt very much that Pi-hole is going to be on their flip script. And so if you switch things back to the default settings that they gave you, you're going to have a much better time trying to get help from their tech support. Now, with that said, I can count on one hand the number of times I've called and used tech support from the ISP. But again, if you've got other people in the household, and for instance, if you're going on a business trip and you're not going to be available, or you might be in a spot that has sketchy internet access, you want to have some contingency plans in place. So just think this through before you implement it. Once you are ready and you've done your testing, then you can go over to your router and make the change there so that every device on your network that gets an address via DHCP is getting the Pi-hole as the DNS server. All right. Adrian asked, does Pi-hole have a DHCP relay option on its interface, or does it have to be configured in line with DNS mask? That is a good question. I'm not sure I have an answer for it. So let's see. So DHCP settings, this is what you get. Enable the server, set the range. DHCP leases. It looks like you're probably going to have to set the options with DNS mask. If somebody else in the chat knows anything different, please feel free to chime in. Just curious. They've got a router set up for Fritzbox, which I think is something mostly used in Europe. I've not encountered one here in the US. Your mileage may vary. Maybe somebody knows more about Fritzbox than I do. So it looks like a pretty sane interface here for Fritzbox. But again, your mileage may vary on your own router. So for DHCP relay, I am not 100% sure. I'm guessing you have to do it through DNS mask. That's not something I have tried to set up using Pi-hole. And the only time I've gotten into options like that is when I've done things with fog. So in order to get it to kick over to Pixie Boot, and I've always configured that directly on my router interface for Unify. So yeah, I don't think you can do it through the web interface for Pi-hole at this point in time. But if I am just missing that option and somebody else knows about it, please let me know and I will try to correct that or do a supplementary video at some point talking about that. Are there other questions, comments, suggestions for future videos? How's everybody feeling about Pi-hole today? Do you feel like you could install it yourself? The instructions are just very simple. As I mentioned at the beginning, their website keeps things easy and it gives you pretty step-by-step instructions on how to get the basic system up and running. And in fact, if you want to do that final step and configure it for the whole network, it tells you right here, configure your router's DHCP options to force clients to use Pi-hole as their DNS server. And again, it jumps you to the Pi-hole documentation. And from here, it basically expects you to know how to do some basic things with your own router. Which, you know, in reality, I don't think is too much to ask. Most people that would be installing Pi-hole are going to have some familiarity with their router and can do something basic like this. So just keep that in mind, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting. That number just keeps creeping up. Excuse me. And it's blocked almost a third of the requests. So yeah, I guess we can jump back over here and Go back to Firefox. And I don't know. Just curious what sites might have additional ads. Sure, New York Times has some ads somewhere along the line. But yeah, that keeps going up. Top block domains. Incoming telemetry, mozilla.org. Hello, Joe at Cajoling Technologies. Thanks for stopping in. I'm doing well this morning. We're talking about Pi-hole, and we've basically run through a setup on a fresh server and gone through the options on the left side through the main navigation section. We've also configured a VM. This is Lubuntu 21.04 with the LXQT desktop running. And yeah, we're just at this point, we're just kind of playing and seeing what's getting blocked and just kind of opening things up for discussion and questions, comments, whatever the case might be for the Pi-hole topic. Out of curiosity, Joe, have you used Pi-hole, or have you played with it at all, or is it something you have not worked with yet? Just kind of, I guess I'll open this to everybody. Have you worked with Pi-hole before? Is this something that you're interested in setting up on your home network? And for that matter, would you run it in a VM, or would you put it on a Raspberry Pi and maybe run it in Docker on the Raspberry Pi? So, again, kind of one of those situations, even if you're a Windows 10 user, if you've got 10 Pro, there's nothing really stopping you from getting Docker Desktop and setting up Pi-hole in a Docker container and filtering ads that way. So, all right, let's see. I've not used Pi-hole yet. Interested though. Currently blocking ads using DNS, Next DNS. Interesting. That's not one I've heard of. But take a look. New firewall for the modern internet. No sign up required. This does sound interesting. Protect your kids and control what they can access access online and when. See what's happening on your devices with in-depth analytics and real-time logs. Very nice. Very cool. I'll have to take a closer look at that. In fact, I'm going to put that on my list here right now. All right. So, anybody else want to chime in on experience with Pi-hole, or if you're using something else besides Pi-hole to do some ad blocking and filtering and things on your network? So I know previously I've done a video on it. I have looked at NX Filter, which again is another DNS-based filtering software. I first saw this 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 years ago. A lot of schools and nonprofits use this. It is based out of South Korea. The documentation is pretty good. It's a little heavier feeling than Pi-hole. It does, however, offer multiple lists that you can use for filtering purposes. So, again, it's nice to know the options that are out there. Let's see. Adrian says, haven't used Pi-hole, but the interface does look interesting. I'm an AdGuard home user. All right. Off topic, but is this StreamYard? My secret is no longer secret. Yes, I'm using StreamYard. I had in last year, I had attempted to use OBS directly for streaming. At the time, I only had a 20 megabit download speed, and I knew live streaming was something I wanted to get into. So I looked around at different options, and I settled on StreamYard. So I bought a 1-year subscription to StreamYard, and I've been using it ever since. A couple months after I got my subscription to StreamYard, my ISP decided to be nice and upgrade at no charge. I'm sure there's a catch somewhere, but upgrade at no charge my connection from 20 megabit down to 100 megabit down. And I went from 3 megabit upload to about 12. So I am dedicated to StreamYard until the subscription runs through. But once we get further into the year, probably mid-year, I will start reevaluating OBS again, or possibly OBS Ninja, which is another that actually uses WebRTC and is kind of an interesting free product. But that's something that's on my list to test. So that if I don't have to buy another year subscription to StreamYard, I may very well save the money. And since I have been on a purchasing rampage this year, I suppose, buying the new microphone. I've also got a new office chair coming. I did go ahead and purchase the Titan XL from Secret Lab. It wasn't supposed to ship until June 3rd, but I got the shipping notification on Thursday or Friday, and it's supposed to be here this coming week. So I'm kind of stoked about that because the office chair I've been using, I bought in my last year of my undergrad degree. And so that chair is going on 14 years old. So the chair is it's had its course, and it needed to be replaced. And I actually got this for about $25 cheaper than the current price that's showing on the screen. So let's see. StreamYard is pretty cool. For me to do what you're doing right now with video production hardware cost me a few $1,000. Yep. See, now that's the other piece of the puzzle. I'm running older computers. So the machine that I'm actually doing this from today is a 2012 Mac Mini. Now, granted, when I bought it, I bought it with the i7. I've since maxed out the RAM and put in a solid state drive, but the last 6 months or so, I really started to feel the sluggishness in certain areas. So thank you. I had this chair come highly recommended to me. Much the same as this Shure SM7B. The mic came highly recommended. I didn't really want to spend that kind of money on a microphone, but from the test recordings I've done with it so far, I think it's going to be a good investment and last me a lot of years. And here I'm still using my kitchen chair. Well, you know, I don't really think I've got chairs in my kitchen. It's one of those single guy things, I guess. Yeah, I actually the what I'm using for my desk right now is the table from my dining area. So it's more useful to me as a desk than it was where it was at. So having a YouTube channel is supposed to bring in a few extra bucks. For me, it's cost me a lot more than I've ever made. Gives me a lot to buy. Yes. I can't say that I'm close to breaking even on things at this point, between the lighting and the green screen and the chair and the microphone and the audio interface and the video capture box. It adds up. And the Stream Deck, yeah, the Stream Deck is the one thing that keeps me sort of using this Mac, because I have not delved down the hole of finding out how to configure the software on Linux to run the Stream Deck. I have it on good authority from various articles that it can be done, but I've not done it yet. Okay, so I just got this Friday night. This is the Shure SM7B legendary broadcast mic. And I've not even played with the switches on the back of the mic yet. And with StreamYard, it does its own EQ stuff. So there's nothing I'm really doing with that. So yeah. Let's see. Does the Stream Deck connect to StreamYard? Unfortunately, no, not that I'm aware of. But I use OBS for recording all my videos, and I make heavy use of it there. And I've also got it configured for the shortcuts for iMovie, for doing most of the edits that I do in post-production. Check out BitFocus companion software for Stream Deck. All right, I'm going to write that down. Thank you, Joe, for that. That will be something I'll be doing probably tomorrow night after work, is checking that out further. I do have a machine that is newer than the Mac Mini. I got a deal on it. And it's a few years old because, things are expensive right now, and I ended up buying a microphone and other crazy stuff for this channel. So the my Ubuntu machine that's an arm's length away from me. It's an Optiplex 7040, and I've got a solid state drive in there right now. It's got an i5 quad core. It's only got 8 gigs of RAM, so I want to expand that to at least 16, potentially 32. My thought was that I could start migrating over to doing editing and streaming and things on the Linux box, and then I can take this 2012 Mac that I'm using and make that more of a useful for demos and things of that nature. Now, the bad thing about this is that I can't run Big Sur on it. It fell off the supported list on Apple last fall, so it never got the OS 11 update, which is Big Sur. However, I was given a hand-me-down 15-inch MacBook Pro, which is in need of a replacement battery, but I may bring that into the office/studio and see about using that for more of the demos and bring in a few more Mac videos into things. I've been going back and forth, and I'm still on the fence about whether to buy an M1 Mac Mini. The big thing for me is that even the maxed out model, it won't have any more RAM than the Mac I've got. But I know that with the ARM architecture, it's supposed to be much more efficient with all the whiz bang bells and whistle features that Apple has built in. But I'm just not sold on spending $1,000 on that yet. Maybe when they release the first update, I might consider going down that route. But in the shorter term, I think I'll be doing an interim switch back to Linux, which will give me an opportunity to, get up to speed on some other software that's not iMovie for editing. So that can only be a good thing. Let's see. Allows Stream Deck to talk via OSC commands to hundreds of things. Ooh, that could be fun. I'm looking forward to that. So, the Stream Deck was just really a game changer for me when it comes to editing. And then when I started doing all the recordings with OBS, it changed dramatically the way I do that as well. And I really feel like I've only scratched the surface of OBS. I just added the options or selected the options in OBS to do auto remuxing after the video is done recording. So I'm still experimenting with that a little bit because I'm not sure it does as nice a job as Handbrake, which I've been using and doing as a manual step up to this point. But I'm giving that option a try. Excuse me. And the other thing that I just set up in OBS this past week or last couple of days was doing stinger transitions. So I found a couple of free ones that I liked, and it's I think it's going to make my videos a little bit more fun, more visually appealing, hopefully. And I hope it doesn't look too gimmicky and overproduced and whatever. But I'm hoping that this channel can continue to see some growth this year, and maybe by the end of 2022, I'll have more or less broke even on all the equipment I've bought, providing I don't decide to, buy an M1 Mac Mini or a new camera or whatever. I just upgraded the webcam a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, so that's much better than the old Logitech C920 I was using. But at some point I'm going to get something that has its own screen that I can pivot around and see a preview of what's going into the camera and do zooms and more professional craziness like that. So they've enhanced stingers in OBS 27. I'm still on 26. And the option was there. So I decided to play with it a little bit. but yeah, I'm not sure what the difference is between what I'm seeing as an existing feature and what they're adding for OBS 27. That's that's not entirely clear to me at this point, but hopefully, I can figure that out here in the short term. Let's see. So, I am still in the process of clearing out some footage for videos that I've already shot. I've got a video that will be covering the Greenbone Security, or the Greenbone Security Manager, GSM, I think is the name of it. I've got the first two sections of video recorded. I've got to do a final wrap up and then get that edited, and hopefully that'll come out this week. I do have a live stream coming up again on Thursday evening, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. And the topic for that will be announced real soon. But yeah, it may actually be playing with the Stream Deck on Linux. So if I can get some work done on that, then it may be maybe a matter of hooking the Stream Deck up to Linux, the Linux box, and putting the old Logitech camera on it and playing around with that a little bit. And who knows, by the time Thursday rolls around, maybe they'll have released OBS 27. I know they're on their second or third release candidate at this point. And I don't expect it to be that much longer before 27 comes out. I would suspect it will be here before the end of April. I could be wrong, but if they don't find any show-stopping bugs, I would suspect before the end of April. So, yeah. So has anybody in chat used OBS Ninja? Ooh, Companion works on Linux too. Great. That's even better. Yeah, I'll just bring that up right here, right now. Companion from BitFocus. All right. Button designer, feedback, stacked actions. Very nice. "51 organizations are supporting Companion." Looks like they've all made donations towards the development. So yeah, I'm definitely going to look into this. All right, I'll take that as a positive there, Adrian. I'm looking forward to getting that video out. I will warn ahead of time that the first two sections of that video were recorded with my other microphone, so the last section will sound a little different using this Shure mic, which I'm still super impressed with it up to this point. I'm glad it sounds good coming through StreamYard, and yeah, I'm hoping to play with a few of the settings and tweak it to maybe even sound better. And have not tried Ninja, but have been meaning to try it. Okay. So that's kind of the same boat I'm in, Joe. I've seen some demos of OBS Ninja. And ever since I discovered WebRTC, I've kind of been enamored with the technology behind it and being able to run everything through the web browser, which of course is what StreamYard does. But and also Jitsi Meet, which is another piece of software I've used over the last year. But with OBS Ninja, if you're so inclined, you can spin it up on a VPS and have a dedicated server running it just for your uses. So that's one of the things that's got me thinking, and just curious if I would be able to put something like that together on a VPS and run it at lower costs than what the subscription to StreamYard costs. So, okay, did the Shure mic need a lot of gain? I've got my Behringer, what's this? Euphoria UMC 202 HD. The gain is turned to about 12:30, 1 o'clock area. But I also am running the SE DM1 Dynamite, which gives extra gain at a low noise level. So that's fun fact, my day job is with Amazon's WebRTC solution. Interesting. That's cool. The SM7B is notorious for needing strong preamps. Yes. So I read and watched a lot of reviews for the SM7B after people started suggesting it to me. So before I purchased the SM7B, when I was still using my cheapy Samson Q2U, which this was my stepping stone towards going XLR, because this will do the Samson does USB as well. So I got the Samson mic, Used it over USB for a while. Then last fall, I bought the Behringer. Shortly after the beginning of the year, I bought the DM1 Dynamite and used that with the Samson mic, and that actually changed my audio quite a bit. Having the extra gain on the through the DM1 Dynamite, and knowing that I would need the Dynamite or a Cloud Lifter or there's one by a company called Clark Connect. That's only supposed to be $30, but it's out of stock everywhere. Big surprise. But yeah, I got the I've just been sort of gradually going down the road to improving the audio. The webcam I've got now is a Nexigo. What is it? The N660. I mean, it's 1080p, 60 frames per second. Of course, StreamYard, the plan I'm on only does 720p anyways, so that's not really a big deal. But this does handle lighting better than the Logitech C920 I was using. So it's just been, excuse me, it's just been working the plan, you know. I wanted to get from where I was to XLR mics and something that sounded good. But, you know, at the time, you know, year and a half ago, I was still using a USB mic and, you know, had a little bit of sticker shock at the thought of buying everything all at once. And of course, you know, there's a learning curve to it as well. So I kind of mapped out a plan, and yeah, the SM7B was kind of the last piece of what I wanted to do in the short term. I think this mic is going to last me a lot of years. I mean, they've been making these since the 70s, so almost as long as I've been around, or maybe as long as I've been around. So you know, it's a solid mic. It's and I think it'll be even better for me once the new boom arm arrives, because this boom arm, it holds the mic up, but it doesn't give me a lot of precision for where I can place it. So my new boom arm is supposed to arrive Tuesday, and then the office chair on Wednesday. So by Thursday night, when I do the next live stream, you know, I should be all kinds of happy with where things are at with the equipment from an equipment standpoint. So that's what everybody has told me is, you know, this is an investment. It'll last you for years, and who knows, it may last longer than I do. So it's all good. Howard Stern's sidekick Robin uses the SM7B along with other pro broadcasters. And fun fact, Michael Jackson used it on the Thriller album quite a bit, is my understanding. So plus, you know, it's one of those things like when you get a new car, you notice other people that have the same car. Well, once I hit the submit order button to get this mic, I started noticing other YouTubers that are using the SM7B. I guess it's sort of a subconscious thing on some level, but yeah. So, all right. Any other questions, comments from anybody? Adrian, are you still out there? Or Chris? Don't know if people have started dropping off or anything yet, but it is 12:44 Eastern. I'm going to start winding this down in the next few minutes. Usually I have these go between 90 minutes and 2 hours. So if I can have this wrapped up by 1 p.m. Eastern, I'd be happy. I do have some other things to get at this afternoon. So let's see. Oh, the nonprofit work. That's actually part of what I'm going to be working on this afternoon. So, this nonprofit I've been doing work for nearly 3 years. It'll be 3 years in June. They dropped a laptop off to me about a month, maybe a month and a half ago now at this point. That the person using it had locked it with BitLocker and of course didn't turn in the BitLocker key to his management, which left me unable to get into the machine. Well, they decided to have me sit on it for a while, and I just got the green light to go ahead and do a clean install Windows and lock it down a little bit further than what I had it before. Again, this was all per their direction. So yeah, my afternoon is going to be spent reinstalling Windows, reinstalling Microsoft Office, and then writing up some documentation so that the person that receives this laptop will be able to get their Google Drive signed in, as well as their dial pad, which is a soft phone system that they use, which again needs a sign in through their Gmail account. So, and since I don't have their passwords, the best I can do for them is to get everything ready to go and include instructions for things that I cannot do because of not having passwords. So, I will say that now that I've got some of my network is attached storage woes figured out and ironed out, I will be doing an image backup of this machine once I have it all reinstalled, just in case this next person that gets it, what happened to the camera? The next person that gets it decides to do something crazy, and well then, let's see. Anyways, so yeah, when I initially did the install for them, they gave me specific instructions on how they wanted some things done, and I basically told them that there were some shortcomings in the plan, but I would follow their plan. And yeah, this is where we're at now. Is my camera going to come back? Maybe. Well, not that. Hey, I'm back. All right. Anyways, let's see. One other question. How is the vaccine rollout in your area? You guys got your second vaccine on Thursday. Hoping things get back to normal. Granted, I'll probably spend most of my time in my basement. Things are progressing in Michigan. The vaccines are available. I just need to get an appointment made now. I have spent this past week or a little over a week in isolation because I'd gone to my niece's birthday party to have cake. And apparently my father had been exposed to COVID. And so then, I did what I was supposed to do and talk to my boss. And the official word from the health department was for me to isolate until yesterday. So other than going out long enough to buy some groceries, I did what I was supposed to do. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to work tomorrow. Part of the reason I ended up with the Shure SM7B is because I was sitting in my apartment with some major cabin fever, and I had voices telling me to make a purchase on Amazon. Not literal voices, but yeah. So yeah, I've been asymptomatic the whole time. I just had to follow the instructions that my boss passed on to me through from the health department. So I worked from home this past week, but it's just this whole past year I have not gone out much. And I mean, while the library has opened back up, we're still at reduced staff capacity. So there's normally only 2 staff members in the building at a given time. So I spent I have been spending part of my week working from home anyways. It's when I spend all of my week working from home that I guess I've got to hide the credit card. Yeah, and hopefully my financial planner is not watching this, so I do not think he would approve of me spending what I did on a microphone. But hey, I will deal with that if the situation presents itself, and I will make the case that it's an investment and not just a sporadic purchase. And hopefully he'll buy it, but that's a whole other story. So yeah, when the big news came that everybody in the state of Michigan was eligible to get a vaccine, I signed up with the health department. They were supposed to send out emails of an appointment and when and where I would need to go to get it. I have heard nothing. And that was almost 3 weeks ago, I guess. So now I'm going to resort to Rite Aid and Walgreens and Kroger or Meijer or whatever, and wherever can get me in the quickest to get a shot in my arm, hopefully this week, will be where I go. So I'm wanting to do it because I've got people like my sister. She's got MS, and so because they haven't studied terribly deeply the side effects for people with MS and the steroids that a lot of them already take to combat their MS, she's not able to get vaccinated at this point. So I want to do it so I can be able to do my part to protect her a little bit, and get to see my nieces more often. So that's kind of my plan at the moment. And yeah, hopefully by Thursday evening, I will at least have an appointment time. Maybe I'll have already got a shot by then. It'll all depend on. We've had some changes in our work schedules at the library, so we had a staff member leave, and so I'm picking up an extra day in the building. So we will see how this all pans out this week. But yeah. I'm not sure there's a CVS near me. I'd have to double check that. But Walgreens and Rite Aids are everywhere in Michigan. So, including, I think it's a Rite Aid that's just down the street from the library I work at. So, if I can even get an appointment during one of my shifts, I might spend my half-hour lunch running down to Rite Aid to get a shot in my arm, and wait out the time after the shot to make sure that I don't have any side effects. So all right. Well, I'm glad you stuck around, Adrian. Over in Africa. All right. I'm slowly filling out the different areas of the world that I've had people watch videos from. Let's see. So I've had people from India, pretty much all throughout Europe, Russia, China, of course, the U.S., Canada, throughout South America. I'm slowly ticking off at least continents. Getting down to specific countries is a little bit more difficult, but I'm glad you're here, Adrian, and that you're hooked, as you say. So thanks again for coming, Joe. I am, like I said, wrapping this up. I'll go for about another 3 minutes and cut off at 1 o'clock Eastern. But yes, thank you for coming. I appreciate the extra interaction in the chat and questions and things. Definitely makes things go a little quicker. My latest number as of this morning was 2,265 subscribers. It's definitely growing. Now that I've got live streaming sort of figured out and leveled out as far as being able to run through it with StreamYard. I'm starting to get back into doing a few more pre-recorded videos. And I actually managed to get 2 out this week, including one last night. But those are going to start picking up again. My original goal was 2 a week plus a live stream. At this point, I'm going to commit to at least 1 a week. But I would like to get slowly back up into having 2 out a week and 1 or 2 live streams a week. My Thursday nights are still going every other Thursday. But depending on how that picks up, I may flip-flop things a little bit and start doing Thursday nights every week and every other Sunday, which would be a little more conducive if I were to get the vaccine and then be able to do any traveling. So wouldn't mind taking a long weekend somewhere. And I've got friends in Illinois that I wouldn't mind going down to visit again sometime this summer if everything goes as planned. And I know they're already vaccinated. If I can get mine, I think we'll all be comfortable with me going down there for a long weekend. So next thing is just when are we going to get our replacement staff member at the library and get things back to a more normal schedule. So all right, on that note, we have hit 1 p.m. Eastern. So I just want to thank everybody once again for coming out. If you haven't done so already, and I think everybody in chat has, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. If there's content on the channel that somebody would like, even if it's a one-off video, please feel free to share those links. I will take whatever help I can get in growing this channel, and I can't do it without all of you, the viewers and participants in the live chat. So thanks again, everybody, for coming out. Have a wonderful remainder of your Sunday, and I will be back on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for another live stream. Have a great day.